In the last session, what we have discussed, so we have discussed about some HTML basics and also browser commands and how to launch different browsers we have seen. Okay, so today we are going to discuss about how to work on multiple elements. Okay, how to find an element, right? We need to perform, we need to enter some text in the username, and we need to enter some text in the password. We need to click on the login button. All these different user actions, whatever the user is performing, those we wanted to do with Selenium. Okay, to perform, first we need to identify the web elements. When I'm talking about HTML code, I have discussed about these web elements also, right? Different web elements will be having. We have label elements, we have input elements where type is equal to text. We have input elements where type is equal to password. All those are called different web elements. So we need to automate these web elements so that we can enter the text, we can click on different buttons, we can do different stuff. So to identify, okay, we have different mechanisms are there, identifying mechanisms. So that we should know. There are total 8 types of identifying mechanisms are there. So those 8 types are helps us to identify any element on the web page. So that once we identify the element, once we can locate the element, we can perform any action on that particular element. Okay, so this is what we're going to do in the coming one or two classes. So let me open the locating mechanisms. Just give me a minute. Right. So we have already talked about HTML, right, in the previous class. So normally HTML files are saved with .html extension. Okay, so we start with normally tag called HTML tag. That is a parent tag for all the different tags. So there are two main tags available under HTML tag, which is one is head and another one is body. So HTML head, title, body, label, input, BR, button, or those are called tags. Okay, and then type is equal to text. These are called attributes. So for every web element, there are multiple attributes might be present. Every attribute consists of attribute name and attribute value, right? Here type is an attribute name and text is an attribute value. Okay, so here we have ID is equal, some IDs will be there, some names, some classes. There are different multiple attributes are there. So based on these attributes, we are going to identify few of the locating mechanisms are nothing but based on these attributes, we are going to identify the element. Once we identify the element in the HTML code, we can perform the action. Okay, identify the element, perform whatever action you want. Okay, so this is completely is called a web element. Okay, from the starting tag to until this particular tag, complete this is called as web element, where web element consists of different attributes. Okay, now there are total 8 types of locating mechanisms are there. Using any of this locator, we can identify the element. Okay, so this is nothing but the locating mechanism. So we have ID, name, class name. Just a second, guys. Okay, we have total 8 different locating mechanisms are there. So one is ID, name, class name, tag name, link text, partial link text, XPath, and CSS selector. Okay. Okay, total 8 locating mechanisms are there. All these locating mechanisms which are there, these are helps to identify the element. Okay, once you identify the element, then you can do whatever the operations that you want on those particular elements. If you want to enter the text, you can enter. If you want to click on the buttons, you can click. If you want to click on the links, you can click. So whatever you want to do, you can do it. Okay, so first we'll discuss one by one these locating mechanisms. First we'll discuss about ID. Okay, you can identify any element by using ID. ID is nothing but an attribute. It will be present for any element. Okay, so let me open a random website. Okay, some sample testing website where I'll try to pick the ID and I'll identify the element using ID. Okay, so this is a website I'm taking here. If I want to identify this element, first I need to know the HTML code, right? I want to inspect this element. So right click on the element and click on inspect, right? So we'll get these values here. Okay, this completely is an input element with the type is equal to text, and there are multiple attributes are present, right? Just a second. So this is an element which is identifying the username. So we have name attribute is there and also ID attribute is there in this element. So here if you take ID, so we can identify this particular element using ID and we can enter the text. Okay, first of all, what we need to do, we need to identify the element using ID. So let us take this ID value. Okay, value we take, attribute value, not the name. Just take whatever the value which is there with respect to ID, that particular value we take, and let us try to identify that element. So for that, first I'm going to create a package. Okay. Locators, right? Inside this, I'm going to create a class Locators example 1. I want public static void main. So first I need to launch the browser and open the application. Then only I can identify the element. I need to perform some action. So for that, I'm using the existing code only, right? I'm taking the existing code to open the application. Okay. So this is still here. These 4 lines of code helps me to launch the browser and open the application. So once I open the application, I need to identify the element using ID. So I took the ID here. I copied this ID. Okay. And then I need to write this particular statement. So what the statement? Use driver dot find element. Okay. Driver dot find element. Okay. Inside the find element, so you need to write by. How we are going to identify the element? By ID. So by dot ID. Okay. So inside ID, you pass double quotes and copy the ID that you have taken, ID value. So here, this is the ID value, txt username. This I have copied it here. Okay. So this is a statement to identify the web element. Okay. This statement is to identify the web element. Driver dot find element by dot ID. By using ID, I'm going to identify the element. This is one of the locating mechanism. And here I need to pass the ID value. So I don't want to put the semicolon here. Once I identify the value, I want to perform some operation. So what operation that I can perform? What action I want to perform here? I want to enter the username text. So what is the username? I want to pass the admin. Okay. If you see here, I want to pass admin here in this username field. Now don't put semicolon here. Remove semicolon. Okay. Just a second. Okay. Here, dot send keys. Send keys is a method which helps us to send some text into this particular element. So this is a statement where we are identifying the element. Once we identify the element, and then we are going to enter some text using send keys. So what text I'm going to enter? In the double quotes, you type admin. This is the username I want to enter. And then put semicolon. That's it. So this is a statement to identify the web element, and send keys is the one which helps us to enter some text into the web element. So what text we are going to enter? We are going to enter admin. Okay, this complete statement is identifying the element and entering the text. Okay, for every operation that you want to perform, identify the element and perform the corresponding action. So now let me run this and we will see whether this enters the text into the text box. So run as Java application. See, we're able to enter, you're able to open the application, we're able to enter the text also. Correct? We're able to enter the admin. Okay, this is how we need to identify the element and enter the text. Or else we can any operation that we can perform. As of now, we are seeing only the entering the text. So this is one way that we can identify an element. Okay. There is another way. This is one of the locating mechanism. By.id is one mechanism where we can identify the element using ID value. Now the next one we will see. Name. Using the name also we can identify. Name is also an attribute. Name is also an attribute where we can identify the element using name. So let us see if there is any another element with the name. So let me inspect this password. Okay. Or else right click on the web page and click on inspect. Right. And then what we're going to do is, just a second. So now click on this arrow icon here on the left side. You're not able to see here. So beside this, you'll be having, and then click on the corresponding element. Here we have ID for this element. We have name also. Okay, we have ID. We have name also. So now I'm going to identify the element using name. Okay, so let me take the name value. So this is a password that I'm going to identify. So I identified this particular using ID, and password field I'm going to identify using name. Let me take the name value, right? I'm going to write the code here. So driver dot find element. Inside I need to write by dot name. Here I need to pass the name value, and then dot send keys. Here I want to pass the name corresponding password admin123. This is the password. I'm going to enter the password. Okay. So here, so by you have to import. So if you're getting any error at by here, when you're writing the code, that you need to import here. org.openqa.selenium.by. Okay, please make sure if you're getting any error at here location, you make sure that you import this properly from Selenium package. Okay. So let's see. Let us run now. So where we are opening the application and entering the username and entering the password. Two tasks that we are doing. So let me run this as Java application, and we see what exactly happens. See, immediately it entered, right? Admin and also password. If you want to see, you can give some time where you can wait for certain amount of time to see whether it is entering or not. So what I'm going to, before entering the admin, I'll wait for some time using thread.sleep command. Okay, thread.sleep, T is capital. I want to wait for 5 seconds. Here, I need to give how many seconds that I want to wait, but not 5. In milliseconds, we need to give. So for 1000 milliseconds are nothing but 1 second. If you want to wait for 5 seconds, 5000 milliseconds we need to give here. Okay, and this will throw a checked exception where I can handle this using throws declaration. We have discussed about checked exception. Similarly, before entering the this password field, I'm going to wait for 5 seconds. Okay, open the application, wait for 5 seconds and enter the username. Again, wait for 5 seconds and enter the password. So now run this. You're waiting for 5 seconds. Enter the username. Again, wait for 5 seconds. Enter the password. Okay. This is how we can perform the action. So this is one way that we can identify element. Okay, when you see name and ID, what you prefer? Okay, when you see name and ID, normally what you have to prefer? You have to prefer ID because ID will be unique for each element. If you put ID for one element, the same ID, most of the cases, 99%, it won't be there for any other element. Okay, ID will be unique. So when you talk about any other locators, and when you talk about ID, you have to prefer, the first preference should be ID. Okay, if ID is not there, then you can choose any of the locators. Okay, that's it. This is about ID and name. Both are attributes where we can identify using those values. Okay, this complete web element we're identifying here, which is nothing but from input to ending. The complete web element we are going to identify this using this particular value. That's it. Once we identify the complete web element, we are performing some action. Okay, that's about the second locator. And the third one is class name. Okay, so class is also an attribute. Class is also a attribute for any web element where we can have more than one classes. Okay, class is not a single value where we can have more than one classes by separated by space. So we will see that an example. Okay, just give me a second where I will see some meaningful example. Let me open another website for this purpose. Okay, let's take this website. Okay. Okay. So now let us try to identify this element, search box, and click on inspect. Okay. So here, if you see, okay, this particular search box, okay, this particular search box contains class type is equal to text. That is fine. Input type is equal to text. That will be there because there is a text box where we can enter the text. So we have a class, ID, name, placeholder. Different attributes are available. So as of now, I discussed with ID and name. So now I want to enter the text using class name. If you see, there are multiple class names are available. Okay. If you see here, this particular line here, there are multiple class names available. The search underscore query is one class name, and there is a single space, and then form control and single space AC underscore input. There is a single space. So there are multiple classes will be available for this class attribute. There is not only a single value will be available. For ID, for name, there is a single value. But for classes, there will be a more than one value which are separated by space. So now when you are using by dot class, if you are trying to identify an element using class, you have to specify only one class. Okay, more than one classes you cannot give. Any one of the class which you find unique, where we can identify the element. Okay, that you can give. Okay, so now I want to identify the element using this particular class name. Okay, I have to take only one class name. So what will happen if I take multiple class name? We will see. Okay, but when you're using by dot class name, you have to specify only one class name. So copy the class name, search underscore query. Now I want to identify the element using that particular class name. So I'm going to create one more class. Locators example 2. Right. So I copy the same code to launch the application. Now here the application URL will change. This is a new application that we are using, right? Here I want to copy this particular application URL. This I want to open, and then I want to identify the search box using the class name. Multiple class names I'm not going to provide. Only single class name I'm going to provide here. Okay. So driver dot find element by dot class name. Select class name. And in the double quotes, you give that particular class name. And then this is a text box. I want to enter some text. For example, I want to enter send key, and I want to enter some text like blue shirt because this is an e-commerce application, right? I want to enter some blue shirt kind of, right? Blue shirt. We will see what will happen. Okay. So, but this we have to understand by dot class name where you have to give a single class. Okay. So let me run this and see what exactly happens, whether you're able to enter the text. So let me run this. The application performance is bad. That is the reason it is taking long time to load. Okay, we can't do anything. See, we are able to enter the text, correct? So we are able to identify the class name. See, single class value you have to give, even if you have multiple class values. So let's find what is the unique value that we can give. So if we give multiple values, what will happen? We will see. So let me close this. Let me comment this code. Okay, let me copy the same code and try to give multiple class names. Okay, so multiple class names, how to give? Inspect, copy the multiple class names here. I'm going to give the complete class name. There are total 3 class names are available. So I'm going to give complete class names here. Okay, now I'm running this. Okay, so this is a one class name, this is one class name, and this is one class name. Total 3 class names are available. So let me run this. Let's wait for page to load. It's loaded, still loading. Okay, nothing happened. The page is loaded, but nothing happened. We will see what exactly happened here in the code level. The execution got completed. Okay, so this exception we got. What exception we got? We got a invalid selector exception. What exactly it is saying? What is the exception name or the exception message? Message is compound class names not permitted. Compound is nothing but more than one class name. We cannot give when you're using by dot class name. So you will get invalid selector exception. Okay. So that's what we have written here. Compound class names cannot be given. Single class can be used. If you try to use compound class names, more than one class name, when using by dot class name, you will get a invalid selector exception. That's not a valid selector that you have given. The value that you have provided inside the by dot class name, that is invalid selector. Okay. Clear, everyone? Now the next one is, any questions? Someone is asking something.
No, sir.
Okay, fine. Okay, so if you try to give a compound class name, you will get a invalid selector exception. Just remember this exception name. So this is exception. Let me copy this. Invalid selector exception. Okay. Compound class cannot be, names are not permitted. Now the next locator is tag name. Using tag name, we can identify an element. So normally when you're using tag name, right, there are multiple elements are available with respect to the same tag name. So mostly this is not the preferred locator that we can use to identify an element. If you're trying to identify an element, you have to identify only one element. Okay. So more than one element, if you're able to identify using by dot tag name, so what action that you're going to perform on the corresponding element, you cannot perform. You'll have a weird behavior kind of. Okay. So that we will see what exactly happens if you're using some locating mechanism. For example, if you're using by dot name, if the same value is present for other locator, other element, other web element, what will happen? Okay, that is a multiple elements are present with respect to same attribute. ID will be unique. For every element, we can have only the unique ID. We cannot have a duplicate IDs. That is fine. But when you're using class name, right? Class name might be duplicate, and ID names will be duplicate, and also tag names. Multiple elements are available with respect to same tag name. If you're using tag name, username has the same input tag name, and password also same input tag name. So what will happen? So you have to make sure that you're identifying only single element if you're using any of the locator. Okay, only one element you have to identify. If they're getting more than one element, the way that you're performing is differently you're performing some action. It will perform, but in which element you're going to perform, that will be different. Not exactly the what element you're going to perform. Okay, will you have a weird behavior kind of. Okay, you have to make sure that you identify a single element, whatever you're going to perform an action. Now let us take a tag name. Okay, so how to identify using this particular tag name? So let me have, if I want to know how many tags are available, how many elements are available with the same tag. If I want to know, just put here /. Okay, you're not able to see it, right? Now you're able to see. Okay, put a / and then type the tag name. Input. Okay, if I do like this, not here. Okay, set Control F, not in the styles. Okay, don't ever give in the styles. Control F, this and put it here. Control F and type it here. So how many elements are present? If you see the count, you're able to see it here. Okay, if I expand this, the count 1 of 6, right? Total there are 6 elements are available with input tag name. Okay, here we are getting more than one web element. Okay, if we have to make sure that we are identifying only one web element when you're using tag name or class name. Class name, how to know how many elements are present, we will see later how to find out when we're talking about XPath. So you have to make sure only one element should be present. The right side value represents the number of elements that are able to identify using this particular tag name input. Okay, now if you want to identify any element using tag name, you have to make sure the tag is unique. Okay, nowhere that element is present with the same tag. But normally for text boxes, the tag name will be unique input. Okay. For all the text boxes or all the password fields, the tag name is input only. Okay, that you have to make sure. So now I have one example here where I can identify element using tag name and click on it. I can perform some action. Okay. So what is the tag name here? So let me say, let me take this particular cart option is there. Okay. When I click on this cart, right? When I click on this cart, what will happen? Mouse click. It is going to navigate to the corresponding page, cart page. Correct. So similarly, I can identify this element using tag name. So I'm going to this particular page. I'll come back and I'll try to identify this element using tag name because there is only one element with respect to tag B. Okay. Let me identify this. If you see here, there is a B tag. Okay. There is only one element with B. How to know? Just select Control F. Okay. Control F and // B. If you see the right side count, only one value is present so that you can perform the action on this particular element. Okay. So I'm performing this action using this tag name B. So what is the tag name here? B. B is the tag name. We have multiple tag names will be available. Span will be available, div, right? And also input. There are button, multiple tag names will be available. Now I'm going to identify this element using tag name B because there is only one element is present so that I can perform the action. Now how to identify? Let me comment this. Driver dot find element y dot tag name. Which locator we are talking about? We are talking about tag name. Is the double quotes what I need to give? B. So this is the tag name. And what I want to perform action? What action I want to perform? Send keys. I'm entering any text here. What I'm performing, I'm clicking on this particular. So I need to perform click operation. There is this particular command that you have to use, not send keys. Send keys used to enter text. Click used to click. Okay, currently manually if you're doing it, you'll just use the mouse and click. Left click you will do, right? This particular click will do the same operation. Left click. Clear? Using tag name, I'm able to identify an element because there is only one element with respect to tag B. I want to show you some example. That is the reason I have took this example. Okay. Normally tag name is not preferred to use when you're working on a single element. So multiple elements, how to handle, we will see how to handle multiple elements, how to get the multiple elements, how to handle multiple elements. We'll see in the next sessions. But as of now, we are going to discuss about only single element, right? So let me run this and we'll see whether you're able to click on it. Okay, we open the application and clicked on it. Okay, that particular statement that you have written using identifying the element using tag name, and we are able to perform the action. Identify the element, unique element using any of the locator and perform the action. So that if you see the count, you should be get only one. As of now, we are able to identify using tag only, / and give the tag name so that you'll know how many tags, how many elements are present. Okay, with respect to tag. Clear as of now? So we have to concentrate on how to identify an element using the corresponding locator. That's what we have to identify. Okay. So till now we have done with 4: ID, name, class name, tag name. Okay. Clear everyone? Any questions here? I'll stop here and I'll ask If any questions?
Sir, can you explain this tag name again, sir?
Tag name again. Okay.
Yes.
So previously we are using different attributes like ID, name, class name, and using corresponding values, we are able to identify an element. Let us identify this particular text box. There are class is there, ID is there, name is there. Similarly, how we are identifying using these attribute values. Similarly, we can identify using tag name, the corresponding tag name. Okay, and perform any action. So if you want to work with multiple elements, I want to work with only one element as of now. So that is the reason I took this example where only one element is present with tag name B. Okay, I can identify the element using the tag name and I can perform any action. Okay, so what is this tag name for this particular card? B is the tag name. Okay, so that is the reason I have given here. I'm trying to identify using the tag name B, and I want exactly I want to perform. I just want to click on this card so that I can go to the card page. Okay, that's what I did here. Clear? So this is a tag name for that particular element card. B is the tag name. Using this tag name also we can identify this complete element, and we can click on it. Okay. Clear? Any questions?
No, sir.
Okay. Apart from these four, now if you see there are two more locators are available. Okay. One is a link text and one is a partial link text. In the name itself, we are able to see these are belongs, these are something we have to deal with links. Okay. So as of now, we have seen different elements. Okay, right?
Yes, sir.
So this link text and partial link text are normally used for links, not for buttons, not for text boxes. These are useful for links. How exactly link will display? What exactly the HTML code for link? So we know how it will display for normal text box, and we know how the code will display for password, and we know how the code will display for buttons also, because we have designed some HTML form, right, in the last session. But we don't know how the links will look like in terms of HTML code. First, we should know how the links will look like, and then we have to identify the links using link text and partial link text. Both are used to identify the links. Okay, first let us see how the HTML code will look like for the links. Okay, so let me take some example here. Here, if you see contact us and sign in, these two are links. Okay, so let me inspect the element and see how exactly link look like. So let me click on sign in, inspect, right? So normally links starts with a tag called A. Okay, normally links starts with a tag called A. So we call it as anchor tag. Anchor tag. So links starts with a tag called A, and this is a link where we are able to see some text sign in. Correct? This text will be displayed in between the tags. This is the starting tag A, and this is the ending tag /A. In between, we have the link text. So this is called as link text. This is a visible text that is fine, and also this is called as link text. Okay, and we have different attributes for this particular. Normally, we have IDs, names will be there. Like similarly, we have one attribute called href. Href is an attribute where it contains the link. Okay, so when we click on the sign in, where we should have to navigate, to which page we need to navigate, the corresponding page URL will be displayed here under href. Okay, so if we right click on this link, right, copy link address, and we also open. So this is the href link I copied. You will directly navigate to the corresponding page. So normally we won't do that. So when we click on the sign in, right, when we click on this link, normally we are navigating to a page which is nothing but the link which is present under this href. Okay, clear? So what we need to understand here, the tag name for links is A, which starts with A, and we have a link text where we can see it here, the sign in or contact us, whatever link it is. If you go to contact us, when you click on contact us, this is also link A, where the link text will be contact us. And we have one attribute will be there that we need to understand, href attribute. href contains the link, okay, where we are navigating when we click on the link. Okay, this is a new page. Till that particular page, we are going to navigate once we click on this particular contact us page link. Clear? Any questions? Any questions? Able to understand or confusing still? Okay, fine. Okay, three things: tag name A, link text, contact us, which we can see on the web page. When we click on this contact us, you will be navigating to this particular link, which is present under href. That's it. The URL will change. So if you want to identify this link, there are two directly they are giving, the Selenium is giving two types of mechanism. One is using link text, one is using partial link text. Okay. So what is a link text? We already seen. So this contact us is a link text. Using this link text, we are able to identify the element. Okay, let us see how to identify the element and what action I want to perform on this. I want to click on this link, right? Not the send case. This is not a text box to send text. I want to click on it. Let us try to identify. So let me comment this also. Driver dot find element by dot link text. Okay, by dot link text. Inside this, what exactly you need to give? The complete link text which is present. Contact us. Copy the contact us link text and provide and click on it. Okay, if you see the link text, whatever the locator that you're using, brackets open and brackets close, and also here find elements as a bracket, and I have to close that as well. These braces, you have to make sure you properly close it, and then dot click. Okay, this is how we can identify a link using link text. Selenium is giving directly that flexibility to identify the link using the link text. Okay, this is, let us try to run this and see whether you're able to click on the contact us page. Okay, we're able to navigate to the contact us page. So how to know the contact us page? If you see the title here, I don't know whether you're able to see it or let us inspect and see the title. So for every page, normally the title will differ, mostly 90%. Okay. If you go to under body section, if you go to the corresponding title, not body, under head section. Okay. Here in the contact us page. Okay, here on the contact us page. And also if you see the UI also get changed. Contact us page. Okay, in this way we can identify the element using link text and you can perform the action on the link. Link normally what you do, just click on the link where you'll navigate to a different page. Okay, let me close this. And one more locator that we have is partial link text. Okay, so once you use this particular locating mechanism, partial link text, what exactly you need to provide? Let us assume there is a link text, okay, which is very large, where you don't want to give the complete link text, where I want to identify the link using partial text, not the complete text, only some text out of the complete link. So in that case, you can use partial link text locating mechanism, where you can provide some part of the link, not the complete link text you no need to provide, just to give some part of the link where it is find unique. Okay, so now, so let us try to use contact, where we can identify the element using contact or not. Okay, let us see whether there is an element using. Just a second, I will show you how exactly. Just give me a minute, whether I will see whether there is a unique or not. Okay. Okay, that is not unique. Okay. So now I'm going to identify the sign in. Okay, using the partial text. Okay. So normally sign in, you can give the complete text also. Using the link text, you can identify. But let us assume there is a link where you have the link text, very big link text you have, where you want to give the short link text. So using partial link text also you can identify. Okay. Mostly use the try to give the link text and give the complete link text. But if you find if the link is big, link name is big, where you want to, sometimes the link might be forgot your password. Those are also links. Okay, sometimes you'll be having forgot your password. Those are also links where you have more text, right? Complete text you don't want to give it, only give the sample text. So let us see another example where I can show you that example. Forgot your password kind of. Okay, if you see forgot your password, just inspect this. I think this is a link. Okay, where I don't want to give complete link text, where I want to give the small link text, and I can perform the action. In that case, you can use the partial link text instead of using link text, where we can do certain text. So I'm not going to use this example. Same example I'm going to identify. So instead of giving complete sign in, I'll just give sign and I try to perform action. Okay. So what exactly I need to do? Now I need to use partial link text. So driver dot find element by dot partial link text. Correct. Partial link text. This one you have to use, and inside you no need to give complete text. If you give complete text, that is also fine. But normally when you use partial link text, you just give the partial text, some text out of the complete text. So I'm going to give sign, and then I can click on this. Okay. So this is how I'm able to identify the using partial link text, not the complete link text. And run this. Let us see whether you're able to navigate to sign in page. The page is still loading. Let's wait. Once you're loading the page, let's click on the sign in button using the partial link text. Okay, we're able to navigate to the corresponding login page, correct? Using the partial link text also. You can use anything. If you want to use complete text, use the link text. But when you're using link text and you give the partial text value, you cannot identify the link because there is no link with this complete text. Okay. If you're giving partial text, but you're using by dot link text, then you cannot perform the action. If you want, you can try it out. Okay, it will try to look for the complete text. Okay, normally there is no link with this complete text, correct? So you cannot identify. If you want, you can try that option from your side. Okay. Clear? Pardon? Someone is speaking something. Guys, asking any question? Okay. So we have seen as of now 6 types of locators. One is ID, which is nothing but an attribute value, which is unique. Mostly prefer ID to use. And the other one is name. That is also an attribute value. And class, where there is an attribute value, you have to give a single class name. Instead of giving compound class names, you have to give a single class name. And the next one is tag name. Okay. So if you're trying to identify more than one element, normally we use tag name. So how to identify more than one element, we will see. As of now, we're dealing with only single element. Okay. So now the other one is link text and partial link text, where we're trying to identify the links. Link starts with anchor tag A, where we have certain link text, and also we have an attribute called href. Inside this, we'll having a link. So when we click on this particular link text in the web page, we are going to navigate to the corresponding link, href link. Okay. And the next two locators that we have are XPath and CSS selectors. So these two will take 2 days, one for XPath and one for CSS selectors. I'm not going fast because you'll get confused if I go fast. Okay, let us close it here for today's session. You can practice all these 6 things that we have discussed as of now. And tomorrow we are going to discuss about XPath. And day after tomorrow, we're going to discuss about CSS selector, because this is a huge concept. XPath and CSS selector something. These are huge concept. We cannot complete in a 10 minutes or 15 minutes. It'll take a lot of time. Okay, just practice and try to enter some text using send keys or click on the links and let me know if you face any issues as of now. Okay, yeah. Okay, any questions?
No, sir.
Okay, I can end up this session for today and we'll see you back tomorrow. Okay, yeah, have a nice day. Bye bye, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.